Welcome to my podcast. I'm excited to have you here today. Guys, I have a great guest, which I'm going to introduce in a minute. But first, I want to remind you of the opportunity, and I hope that you'll join me. Every Thursday morning, I do a Bible study, a Zoom Bible study. I call it my 6 a.m. club, but that is 6 a.m. Central. I'd love to have you join me. It's your faith, it's that quick, just shot of good faith to keep you going. So there's a link on all my socials or yourmore.com. So I hope to see you there. Join our community. We will love to have you. Guys, there are people from all over the world join it. You should join. Now, to introduce my sister. This is my sister. I'm excited to have her in here today. For people that attended Thrive, they saw her, they heard her speak. In fact, she was, most people's one of her, I heard so much after the fact about how powerful what she spoke about, how it deeply touched people. And so this is my younger sister. She's 18 months younger than me. We have a lot of history together. We're both getting older. Thankfully. Yeah. And yeah, exactly. And I thought it'd be great. She's in town for the week. I thought it'd be great just to bring her on. She has much to contribute in her life. She is the grammar coach of the world. No, honestly, she is an instructional coach and has taught AP English for years, taught overseas, taught in Saipan, She's got a lot of accolades. She's probably the best writer I've ever seen or heard of in my life. She needs to write a book. We'll talk about that later. But literally, I'm excited to have her with us. She's in town just for a few days. So we're going to talk about things that I hope you'll find interesting. But since we have the thing in common that we share with parents that we have, we're going to talk about, I'm going to ask her right now. Mom, I'm happy to have you here.
Thank you. Happy being here.
What did mom and dad teach us that shaped your life the most? In honor of kind of just family and legacy, what is it that mom and dad taught you that has impacted you the most?
Yeah. Two things pop into my mind right away. The first one is obviously a work ethic.
I literally thought
that is one of our behind say. The work ethic is, I think, their highest value.
Yeah.
And it's the thing that they admired in people. It's the thing that they showed us. It's the thing we learned from the time we were young. And so just the value of working hard and feeling good about working hard,
Mm-hmm.
But then the second one, I think, is perseverance. Not quitting when something gets hard. They wouldn't let us quit,
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember going out for track, and I think maybe my sophomore year, I thought I wasn't an athlete, but I thought everybody can be athletic by running, right? Without friction.
I remember it.
So true. So I was running my heart out, but I hated it. I was not fast and I wanted to quit. And Dad was like, you made a commitment to the end of the season. So I showed up every day because I made that commitment.
Wow.
So that's, I think the work ethic for sure. And then just perseverance, through hard stuff.
I would agree with you. The first thing I thought when I thought of that question was definitely work. I tell my kids all the time that mom and papa always had us working at a very young age.
But we did together.
That's what we did together as a family.
Yeah.
Everything functioned around work, whether it was painting rentals or carrying garbage out of houses or mowing yards or
working
concession stands, selling Tom Thumb donuts, all the things. I mean, we just naturally worked. And mom and dad, the one thing I would say that they did a good job with is they always made work fun. As much as we didn't like to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're normal teenagers. Who wants to do this, right? Who wants to sleep in, do all the things. But mom and dad always say, you can sleep in as long as you want to, but you're not going to do anything to get your chores done.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate.
I
I could sleep all day if I wanted to, but I wasn't leaving that. Our chores done. Yeah. So okay, whatever, I could deal with that. Right. But literally, the fact that work ethic that they made life was just, that's what we did.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like a drag.
There wasn't something wrong with having to work hard.
Yeah.
It
wasn't punishment. It was just how it was. Yeah. And
but you had to work hard, but then you could enjoy it as well.
Yeah. I'll never forget this. I don't like bugs. And I didn't really like working in a garden. And I'll never forget this, that one day that we went over to our grandma and grandpa's garden and we were cleaning it up. And it was Dad and I don't know if you were there or not, but our Uncle Mike. Mm-hmm. And literally we're picking all these tomatoes out of this garden and doing all the things. All of a sudden, they start pummeling me with tomatoes, and then they start pummeling each other with tomatoes, like throwing them. And I'm just like that. For some reason, that always sticks out in my head.
Yeah.
It's not any different than when we used to do the concession stands.
Mhm.
Like, it would be pouring right, guys. Nothing is grosser than having nacho cheese
Oh.
in a tray, soaking wet, and you're throwing it in these big garbage cans, and you're picking up all the concessions. That's why no matter where I go, I don't care what event I go to, I always pick up at the concession stands because I've had to clean it up in the rain.
Yes.
And it's horrible.
Yeah.
Anyway, nothing worse than that. But I remember, like, hey, we'd fight to see who's going to jump in the garbage at the end of the night.
To smash it.
To smash it down.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Yeah. And it was fun.
it was fun.
I made it fun.
And then, they always have a good attitude. So
Yeah.
I would say that, yeah, that's definitely a core. And also, I think that for me was an attitude
Mm-hmm.
and not being, so many times Dad would say that Wienands are whiners
Mm-hmm.
and don't be the president of the plum club. That means be a winner, be a winner, not a whiner.
Mhm.
And don't be the president of the plum club. Poor little old me. Like, how many times have I find myself say that to my kids?
Yeah.
Hey, we don't need anybody to be the president of the plum club in this house. So anyway, all right, next question. What faith lessons from childhood still impact you today?
Mm-hmm. I think when I think about childhood faith, mom and dad really were consistent. We went to a few different churches growing up and a few different denominations within the Christian faith, but mom and dad were really consistent about valuing gathering together with people of faith and going to church and being involved with within a faith community.
Mm-hmm.
And that has kind of carried me through life. So every stage of life I've been involved in different faith communities, and the importance of that as a way to not only deepen your own faith, but also to get connected to community, and then also to kind of order your week. Like your week was centered around, on Sundays you go to church, and that's still really important to me, and I've raised my kids in that. So that's just being committed to being a person of faith. I think also, the Bible says all these three things remain, right? Faith, hope, and love. Hope has been the one that has spoken to me so many times. My mom and dad lived out. They were always hopeful. Like, things were going to get better. Things were going to get easier. Things are going to turn around, They lived out faith, obviously love, obviously the commitment to us as kids was astounding. But they also lived out hope, right? And also, like, we're called to a greater hope even.
Yeah.
This isn't, everything we see is not it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good, Mo. They also definitely put perseverance in us.
Yeah.
Don't quit.
Yeah.
We've watched that through the years, but even as a kid, the whole don't quit, never give up, and if you look at so many things in life, like I'm in the entrepreneurial space, right? And that is the riskiest business you can be in, is the entrepreneurial space. You can have the highest of high days and you can get kicked in the teeth the next morning and have the lowest of lows. That's life. That's life in any situation. But like, there's always something that you still love it. You still can still do it again, because you know that it's not always going to stay that way. And you might be in a hard season, but it's going to shift. It's going to change. But just the entrepreneurial, like, hey, you just keep going, because the outcome is set. If you quit, that's the outcome set. But you never know what the outcome will be when you don't quit. And so many times I would go back to, mom and dad were really big into like Amway.
Oh, yeah.
Like, here's the thing. Dad took me my very first, like, probably week or two in real estate. I'll never forget. He took me to Kansas City. We saw Zig Ziglar.
Did you really?
And Colin Powell.
Oh, yeah.
And John Maxwell. And John Maxwell was just kind of becoming a thing at that point. But he had me reading every motivational book he literally, he poured all that in me. Here's the thing. I'm in the career I'm in because he gave me the book, The Magic of Thinking Big. And I was working at Cook County Jail at that time, and like riding on the train every day and looking at my peer group that I worked with and seeing, hey, they've been in this 20 or 30 years, and I'm seeing the cynicism on their face, thinking, I don't want that. I don't want to look like that in 20 or 30 years. Like, I still want to have expectation and not be cynical about the world. Right. And but Dad had given that book to me. So I'm just reading it and I'm like, yeah, sales is what I should be in. Right. But just that natural, like the metron and the metrics of your life so get set by your internal belief system. And just that he fed that belief into me has been huge, because this is what I know about all three of us, you, myself, Steph. Every day he would come in and tell us, he thought we were so beautiful and that we could do anything we wanted to do.
Most beautiful, smartest, something.
Yeah. And then you can do
anything you put your mind to. He told us that every day.
Every single morning he would tell us that.
And didn't you grow up believing it?
Yes.
Believing it too.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that was so impactful.
It was so impactful.
Yeah.
So like, here's the thing. It's impacted how I parent my kids.
Yeah.
Like I always, I literally always tell them how smart and talented and gifted, and that they're world changers and that they're going to do big things on this earth. Right? I tell them that every day. But I tell them that every day because we were told that every day. So how much does legacy impact from one generation to another? Right? And I even thought about that portion of it, but just the spirit of generosity that Mom and Dad have carried. They've always been really generous to people. I'll never forget this. My mom used to work at the Limited. And I was there one day and a lady came in, and I think that she had just gone through some really awful things. And she had tried some stuff on, but she didn't have the money to buy it. And I remember standing in line, and I remember Mom taking those clothes and saying, here you go. And she bought them for her. And that was so impactful to me that I watched how that woman responded. And that woman was so overwhelmed. We're talking about the Limited out at the Crossroads, which was being torn down, right? She was so like blown away by it. And I watched them. I thought, she just changed that lady's whole entire day, or maybe her life, by that one thing. And so many times I found myself going back to that moment and doing those exact same things, standing in stores, seeing people, looking in a grocery store, looking back at who's behind me, not being like, this is probably a stretch, right? And choosing, because what I saw modeled was just pick up the tab, buy the outfit, do the thing. And so, because they always, I would have seen that our whole life, Mom. Haven't we?
Yeah. I remember one time, similarly, I got it when I lived overseas. I got a tax return, and it was like, it wasn't big money. It was $1,000 or something. And I was single. I didn't really, my needs were met. And there was somebody I went to church with. I hadn't thought about this in a while. There was somebody I went to church with, and her husband lived in the Philippines, and she wanted him to come visit, but she didn't have any money. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy a ticket.
Yeah.
And their marriage was a little rough because they've been living apart from each other for years.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, listen, you can take this and buy a ticket. And seeing the impact now, all these years later, like, they have this really strong marriage. They ended up having 3 kids together, and they've done really, really well. But then that also has come back around to me. So one time when I went through a hard time, there was a time when I was going through, my former husband had lost his job. We did not have any consistent income because I had been a stay-at-home parent. And somebody who was like a friend of a friend heard of our situation and said, hey, I want to pay their mortgage. How much is their mortgage?
Yeah.
And paid our mortgage for a year.
Wow.
I got a check every month to pay our mortgage. So it's like, this understanding of like, no, we're blessed to be a blessing. And then we're also like, then people step up and bless us when we need it. You know? So but mom and dad modeled that for sure.
Yeah. That's always been a strong foundation.
Yeah.
In both you and I in Steph's world.
Yeah. You know,
Like,
I'm grateful for that.
I'm grateful for that too, because
It puts money in proper perspective too.
it really does. Because in my mind, and because of how we were raised, like, money is neutral.
Yeah.
Money with a purpose is powerful, but it's neutral.
Right.
Money is just a neutral thing. It's a weapon if it's used correctly, and it's destructive if it's not.
Right.
But they always used it for good.
Yeah.
You know, and I've seen them do that, and I've seen the way it impacted lives so many times, and that is like a core principle of mine because of them.
Yeah, I agree.
Even where tithing is concerned, like, I've never struggled to tithe to the church or to give to a church because I watched mom and dad model that our whole life. Like, I didn't struggle with it, and a lot of people struggle with it. A lot of people are like, I can't give. I don't want to give. I can't do that.
Right.
But I watched them do that.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
so I never struggled with it because I'm like, that's just what you do.
Right. I think they also that showing that generosity, because the other thing that we haven't said is that they were generous in spite of the fact that they didn't really have a lot of money during much of our childhood.
And that's the other thing. They didn't tell us that they didn't have a lot of money.
No,
We had no idea.
No, we didn't know. But because of that, it's like they modeled for us this generosity, not that came out of abundance.
Yeah.
Like, just be generous with your resources. And then what we learned from that too is that God will provide.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's that end with bad.
Not to be foolish, obviously, but like, no, you give and God will provide. Your needs will be met.
Yes.
God will come through.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I've seen that time and time again.
Yeah. Same.
You know, I don't know if I should say this or not, but this just seems like the point I mean, this has nothing to do with me. It has to do with everything that I saw modeled. Okay. But I'll never forget this. There was a family that moved to this area, to be part of a Spanish speaking church. Like, they were going to pastor it. And they got here and they came and they took like literally like no money. Okay. They had a beautiful family. And I'll never forget this, that when they got here, I worked with them to help get them into a house. And I think that another family might have helped get their down payment or something. But I'm 22 years old at the time. And when I worked with them, I sat down and I wrote the offer and we got it accepted and all the things. And immediately I knew that I was supposed to take care of their house payment for a long time. It ended up being, I don't know, 2 or 3 years. Okay. But here's the thing. I was single, 22 years old, a straight commission job. And I'm like, huh? And you know what? God abundantly supplied my need and showed me his faithfulness over and over and over. Did that mean I wasn't nervous some months? Yeah, no, I'm sure I was. Yeah. I know I was, right? But he was so faithful to me. And like, that impacted those people, but it impacted me way more.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, you can't outgive God.
Yeah.
And like, that's just the facts. You can't outgive God. All right. I'm going to ask you another question. What this kind of goes together, but what family values are most important for you to pass on?
One I've been thinking about a lot lately is curiosity and continuing just to be a learner through your whole life. Curiosity, like two of my kids are young adults now and in college and experiencing the world on their own and exploring and kind of figuring out what are they interested in, what do they want to do in the world, who do they want to be in the world, and just being able to connect with people and connect with organizations and other communities and just being curious about people. Like, we have so much division right now. But it's like, man, if you really get curious, you start asking people, you can find connection points with almost everyone if you start getting curious about them.
That's a really good point, Mom.
And it gives you a little bit different perspective on them. Whereas, like, yeah, you still might completely disagree on this thing or this thing, but you have seen that mutual humanity and treated a person with dignity, which is kind of something that we've lost in all of that. So curiosity is a big one for me with my kids.
Do you know what? Every time I had a coach, and he would always say to me, I'd tell him somebody said or they're acting one way or another, and he'd like, well, get out of judgment and get into curiosity. Get out of judgment, get into curiosity. It solves a lot of problems.
Yeah. You even think about people who like mistreat you. Like, people will mistreat you, right?
Yeah.
And now I find my instinct is to go like, I wonder what's happened in that person's day. I wonder what happened to that person. I wonder what that person's going through. You know, because usually that's not about us, really. It's about them. And
it's, Mo, I have to tell you something. I had this experience, and I was this waitress. I hate bad service, by the way. I do hate bad service. I do. It's a problem. So I hate bad service.
You always have.
I always have. I just do. But I remember we were out at a restaurant, and literally this waitress was awful. She was attitudinal. She had an attitude. Everything was short and bitey. And I remembered back to Ruth Ann. And I remembered back to a time that I was with Ruth Ann in the hospital, and the nursing staff was dropping the ball. Like, they had so many patients. They were so short-staffed that night. They were trying to poke and prod. They couldn't get it. And then just delay after delay. Nothing was, it wasn't going well. Okay. And we're in the emergency room, and yeah. And I remember this nurse was like getting frustrated. And Ruth Ann looked at her, and she touched her hand. She said, you know what, honey? I'm so glad you came to work today. God knew I needed you. And I thought of that moment because I watched that person that was hard and irritated and like under pressure. She went, oh, I'm telling you, they gave Ruth Ann the best care. Like, everything shifted, right? So I thought, well, I'm not that sincere right now, but I'm still going to say it. I'm just going to be, I'm just going to just flip the narrative. And I looked at her and said, well, thank God you came to work today. And she went, huh? And I go, God must have knew I needed you. You came to work. And she got so happy. She started super serving us. And I found that so many times, like waiting in line at a checkout, and they're so slow, or they're new on the job, or they're fumbling everything. Or you just I just had this situation, or you stand in line forever because they're having a hard time. And then you get all the way out the door, and you can't get out the door because they didn't take the tags off. They didn't take the beepers off. And you walk back there, and she's like, oh. I go, you know what? It's okay. You know what? Here's the reason. There must be some reason I must need to be delayed to walk in the parking lot. So thank God you came to work today. God must have knew I needed you. I'm like, what? I have said that so many times, but it literally shifts. Like, it's shocked. That's not what people are like. You're not getting a tip. No. You know what I mean?
I'm in education, and so we talk about, I work primarily with teachers now, but I do still teach one section of English. And we talk about when kids walk in late. Like, and especially when it's like they're walking in late because they were jacking around in the bathroom or in the hallway or whatever. It's so easy to say, like, where were you? Why are you late? Whatever. But instead, just shifting it and going, hey, I'm so glad to see you. I'm glad you made it. That shifts, disarms kids, and really it disarms how we feel about them too, right?
Think about when someone says, why did you do that? It puts you immediately on the defense.
Yeah. But when those kids walk in and say, and my class that I taught this year was first hour, so it was 7:40 in the morning. That is too early for high school students. And there were kids that would come in late almost every day. And every time they walked in, I was like, hey, I'm glad you're here. Good to see you. It makes such an impact. Those little things make such an impact. And it's partially like also that idea of assuming best intent.
You know what I was thinking about too? The other thing when you said that, like we saw mom and dad demonstrate generosity, and we didn't even know that they didn't really. Things weren't easy for them. Like we had no idea.
We didn't even know that.
We had no idea, and there's something about that because when you grow up being taught, like, hey, money doesn't grow on trees, there's never enough, all the things, like that does something on the inside of somebody. And what a gift it is that we didn't hear those things. Right. And like, even how we've programmed our kids, like we'll never say, hey, we can't. We'll always say, hey, we're making different choices.
Yeah. I always say, like, we're not going to spend money on that today.
Yeah.
When the kids were little and they'd ask for something, they go, oh, we'll think about that, but we're not going to spend money on that today.
Yeah.
Instead of, no, we don't have money for that.
Yeah. Yeah. It just like, even like, yeah, we're thinking about her. Words matter huge. But what it does to the interior, what it does to the, like, it's so hard to get those things out of the interior of us that go deep of, we don't have enough. We don't, like, I listen to people's language all the time. And I see it 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years down the road. It's still guiding their life. It's hard to uproot those words, especially when you're young. So I think even as a parent, even as anybody, watch your words, what you're speaking in front of your kids about situations, but don't talk whack. Don't talk not enough. You can always reframe things. We're making different choices, or we'll keep that in mind. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I just think some of those things are just so simple, but they're bold and they're so impactful. Okay. What was your most cringy moment with mom and dad?
Oh my gosh.
There's a lot of them, guys. There is so many of them.
Do you remember we went through this period of time where dad tried to embarrass us?
Oh,
like out in public, he tried to embarrass us. So I remember being in like 7th or 8th grade, and I was at Huber, and I had a crush on this kid. I will not name. He had a crush on this kid. And do you remember when dad drove that orange truck? And it had like a green door or something?
Yeah.
Not, like he didn't drive it for long, but he had that, and he was dropping us off, and he dropped us off in that truck. And I was so, middle school, everything embarrasses you about your parents. And I got out of the truck, and I had said, as we drove up, I was like, oh, there's this person. And I got out of the car, and dad honked the horn. And the person turned and saw me getting out of this monstrosity.
It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
It's horrible. So cringy. That was cringe. So, oh my gosh, that was cringe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The things that parents do.
Yeah.
So embarrassing. Like,
and who knows that?
Yeah, I don't know. Oh.
But I also remember him dancing in, like, being in a store or and he would like bust a move a little. It's like, oh
no, I do that now, and guess what? My kids are like, John.
Yes, it's the natural order.
I know that. Oh, it's so embarrassing. Don't do that.
Yeah. I work at a school where my son is a student, and so I have to be really careful about what I do when his friends are around.
Yeah,
Even the way I talk to him and respond to him, I've got to be really careful about it, because I'm hyper aware of, if I call him Bob, I have to call him. If I call Bob in front of friends, he's gonna be humiliated. So
it's so funny. Parenting is so never ending learning curve.
Yes, completely.
Right.
Nobody ever knows for sure if they know what they're doing.
Yeah. I'm like, Jesus, please don't let me screw them up. Right. Oh. A closing remark, right? The question would be this. What does a legacy mean to you?
Gosh, that makes me teary. I have actually spent probably too much time thinking about legacy. Just because, I went through breast cancer and treatment and all that, and it brings legacy to the forefront of your mind. Like, if I don't recover from this, what am I leaving behind? And So I tried to make almost all my decisions through that lens. Like, what is it I want my kids to remember? How is it that I want to impact my kids? So legacy, I mean, I think legacy also for me is the teaching thing. I just finished year 26 in education. And I just was talking to Mom about it this morning. I've got like, I think 11, 12 years I can retire, but I want to go another 13 because how cool would it be to have a 40-year career in education? Like, what a legacy of impacting students, impacting teachers, just investing in, I mean, teaching really is public service. You are a public servant, trying to shore up your community, etc. And so I love that legacy of having done meaningful work with your life where you impact others is really, really important to me. And then just a legacy of faithfulness. Like, I think I mentioned this before, that I ask myself all the time, like, what does faithfulness look like in this stage or in this situation? Like, what does faithfulness look like? And so, I want my legacy to be partially around, she was faithful in all of these different circumstances. And then also that she talked about God's faithfulness to her and throughout all these circumstances.
I too, again, I don't know if it's age or if it's walking through situations. I'm very focused on legacy. It is a complete driver in my world.
Yeah. Same.
And any kind of health crisis naturally brings that to the forefront. But I also, my whole entire everything is guided by impact and legacy. And it's really important to me, but it's always been important to me. Like, I think it's always been important to me because I remember thinking 20 or 30 years ago, like, how am I going to make an impact that has some significance that's not just fleeting, right? But even to the point, like, my podcast, while I do them on video, I do them on audio, I also do them on video. And so many things that I do on video, I've done because it's a time capsule that my kids can go back and look at. So whether I wanted to record or not record it, my driver has been, I want something that Faith and Foster can go back and look at, click on it. Oh, that was my mom. Oh, that's what she said. This is how she thought. Right? And with video today and social media and all the things, you have so much opportunity to leave a snippet of impact beyond your life, right? I mean, guys, this is the funniest thing. I was horrible in school. Let's just call it what it was. School was not my thing. Now, my sister, how many master's degrees do you have? Like 3? 2. Oh, 2. Okay. Anyway, but 99 percentile, 99 percentile, 99 percentile. Okay. She was always lights out, like, so smart, so smart, so smart. And then Amy, struggle bus, summer school, struggle bus. Okay. But the funniest thing is this. Like, I still can't write a sentence. My sister teaches AP English. She can write a sentence. But guess who has a couple books? Me. Right? I love that. The funniest thing of it is, it's like, I'm not the one that's supposed to have the books. But legacy, impact. I want to have something like, oh, my mom wrote this. I care about her for other people too, but most importantly, like, my kids.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely care about it for other people. And, but like, I'm reading a book today that's 55 years old. And I'm going through it and I'm like, that lady was so impactful. She's impacting from the grave. Her life is still speaking well beyond her. And I think that that's really, when that becomes a driver, a lot of things fall away. And you start to align yourself, because the reality, let's face it, Mom, you and I have both been through some things. And I just said something to somebody the other day. I'm like, when you go and, every 6 months you're having a scan, when that is, and you start to think about it, 3 months out and 2 months out and all the things, right? Like, that changes you to your core. So then the life that you led, the stuff that really didn't matter, becomes really insignificant. Yeah. And you really want to spend your days, although I'm going to live really long and strong on this earth, you really want to spend your days with impactful things and not just in frustration or in futility.
Well, a lot of things become really small.
Yeah. Like every time I hear someone like go off about something, I'm like, they've never had a real problem.
You're like, that's so tiny.
I'm like, you've
It's
never
so
had a
tiny.
real problem.
No,
I'm sorry, you've never had a real problem. In the grand scheme of like, you've never had a real problem. If that's your problem, right? It does give perspective.
You know, I think I had this kind of weird, quirky thing that I used to always read obituaries. Like for years and years, I read obituaries, and I thought it was kind of a strange thing. But I would read obituaries on Sunday morning paper, and I would love to read about like, oh, this person really had quite the personality, or they had a really interesting life, or they had. But also, as I got older, it also gave me that perspective of like, hey, life is short. What are you doing? Right? And life is short, even if we live 8 or 9 years. Life is short, even if we live long. Right? And so, like, what are you doing? What do you want your story to be? What do you want the stories that people tell you to look like? I have been hyper aware of that from the time I was, in my 20s and 30s for sure.
No, but when I turned like, I was probably in my 20s, probably mid 20s, I started thinking about what I wanted my funeral to be like.
Whoa.
Not in the here, I mean, not like short time, like way out.
Yes.
Like not, I'm living long too, right? But I thought, what do I want that to be like? I'm like, I've always thought that. And I
think you live better if you have that constantly in your mind.
I have it constantly in mind. Like, what would I want said about me?
What morbid?
No, I'm not morbid at all.
Morbid.
But like, what would it be?
Yeah.
I mean, like, and here's the thing, again, watching Ruth Ann literally created her, I mean, she did a video at her funeral. Surprise!
Did she really?
Yes, she recorded a video. And here's the thing, at 92 years old, or 93, she said, Amy, I'd like to record a video that someday you'll play at my celebration of life. And every 3 or 4 months, she'd say, hey, where's that? You had that video, right? Don't lose that video. You have it in multiple places? I'm like, I got you covered. I got it in multiple places. She goes, then we're going to play these songs and these people are going to talk. She had it all mapped out. But legacy matter. Like, I think about that. I think about like, hey, I was just at a funeral of someone, and I've walked away in the last year. I've attended like 2 or 3 funerals that inspired me to my core. I'm like, wow, that was a life of significance. Wow, that was a life of impact. And it does adjust things. So again, like, let's talk about first things first. And Stephen Covey's, the habits, start with the end in mind. Yep. Start with the end in mind. That's where you begin. And I'm always like, so I have a vision of what I would like my celebration of life to be a long, long, long time down the road. But I have a vision of it. And that vision keeps me on a path. That vision orders my steps. That vision causes me to say no to some things and yes to other things. Because it's always there. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. I very similarly have that.
We're strange. We're sisters. What do you? Yeah, I mean, like that's always been a thing for me.
Yeah. It does when you live like that though. It does help you shake off the things that are like, oh, this is important to a lot of people around me. It's just not important to me.
Yeah,
like this is what matters to you, and this is what does not matter. I think more easily, But when you're always thinking about, hey, what's the impact of my life going to be?
And here's the thing too, when you get really locked into what's the impact of my life going to be, and I'm here to like serve for like better, lack of a better term, like I'm here to serve humanity in the best way I possibly can, and I'm here to impact humanity in the best way I possibly can. Because that's so. Sometimes you do crazy things because you care about humanity. You make different decisions. And I think the things that have to go by the wayside are what are people going to think? Like that monster of what will people think? For you to walk out your truth and walk out what you're called to walk out and what the creator of the universe put in you to fulfill, that's so significant, that's so individualized, that is necessary on this earth, you're going to have to go against the grain of what will people think.
Yeah.
But when you lead with purpose and you lead with the fact that, hey, I have an end game in mind, it'll drag you through that uncomfortable of what will people think. Because they don't have your same story.
Yeah.
They don't have your same gifting or calling.
Well, when you have the end game in mind, you also have, like, you know who you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I always had that. I think it's because I read so much, but I always had this idea, like, I want to be a courageous person. You know, I loved reading stories of courageous people. And I'm realizing, like, the older I get, like, it takes great courage to wake up and face some days. Just to wake up, to get up, to put on your shoes, to walk out, to go to work, to do whatever it is you need to do. It takes great courage. It takes great courage to age.
Yeah.
It takes great courage to age.
Yeah.
And courage, you know, comes from the word heart, obviously. And I think, like, I've written about this a little bit. The older I get, I want to get softer and softer as I age.
And not cynical.
I want to live with heart more and more as I age.
Yeah.
Not get cynical.
Yeah.
Like, the people I really admire when they're older are the people who are like, I mean, life can knock you senseless left and right.
Yeah.
And some people get really hurt, get really jaded, and some people get really soft and tender and vulnerable and still open to new things and open to, like, oh, life can get better. There's still beauty out there. There's, like, that's the person I want to be. I want to be an old lady who, like, cries with everybody at the grocery store.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to be tender.
Yeah.
Throughout life. So it takes a lot of courage, I think, to just, like, wake up, be hopeful, right? And then just thinking through, who do I want to be in all this? I mean, it's the question I keep coming back to always. Who do I want to be in this? But I think it's wisdom to know there's an end point. There's an end point. We don't know what it's going to be. And we are very hopeful it's going to be a long time from now. But there's an end point, and at the end, what is it I want to be remembered for and known for? What is it I want to have accomplished? What is it that I want to be able to have said? Like, hey, I was given these things in life through birth, through circumstances, and I used them for the good of the world and for the glory of God.
The Bible says, that which was meant for mine evil, God will turn for my good, not just for me, but to save much people alive. It always has a bigger purpose than ourselves, right? If it's channeled correctly. And, we're not meaning to drop the heavy on everybody, but here's the thing. The Bible says, teach me to number my days. Like, and that isn't like a morbid thought. To me, it's like, hey,
I have that on my desk.
I'm like, walk with purpose. Don't just, like, I'm not
teach me to number my days right, that I might gain a heart of wisdom.
Yeah.
You have wisdom about your limited days.
Yeah. And that's not negative, but it also, those kinds of thoughts, like, really clear the fluff out of your life. And I'm not like, hey, don't go have fun. Do you know what the crazy thing about me is? My fun is when I'm in purpose. That's what gives my heart the most joy. I mean, I can go watch my kids play. Well, I do love to watch them play golf, actually, a lot. I like to watch them play baseball and softball, but I love to watch them play golf. There's something about that. I just love it. And I love to watch them do that. I love to watch them do a lot of things, but, like, there's something about that, just riding around the golf cart, just watching them do that and having their conversations. And, I don't know. I just like it.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I'm going to wrap this up quickly. Because Mom and Dad taught us the value of family, and it's been our family tradition to spend time together intentionally. For spring break, we've spent, 20 years together? That has massive value to me. That is something that I prioritize. Even if it comes at cost. Like, I don't care. Like, that is, or inconvenience, or whatever. I'm like, that has high priority to me. And keeping a relationship with our family from this generation to the next has high priority for me. It's a big value to me. Like, I'm going to jump through hoops and I think, again, from one generation to another, it matters. What you impart to the next generation matters. So anyway,
I agree.
all right,
Well said.
guys, and this has had any value to you, we'd love some feedback. I'd love to hear your comments, but pass it on, share it with somebody else, pass it on to your friend. And remember, you're on this earth for more. You truly are more. You carry great purpose, great destiny, and I am cheering you on always. So like my podcast, subscribe to it, and I would love a 5-star review. Thanks for listening. Be blessed.